And we're live. Hey, welcome back to another Unbridled Living in Costa Rica podcast. Today, man, you don't want to miss out today. We're going to be talking about some stuff that really I've never heard any other channel talk about. And the reality is they don't want you to know this because what I'm going to share today could actually scare people away from coming to Costa Rica. Now, I want to preface this by saying Rebecca created this. She said, hey, we're not trying to scare you. We're trying to prepare you. See, if you know about it, then at least you're prepared and you can expect what is about to happen. Okay. So today we're going to be talking about some of the unethical, but very, very common illegal, immoral practices that Ticos are in. Okay. So really, if we just boil it down, we know that when you come to Costa Rica, you're going to get the gringo price, you're going to get conned, you're going to get cheated. But really, will a Tico cheat another Tico? I mean, come on, isn't there some kind of brotherhood going on right there? I mean, I'm thinking they only con gringos, but today you might be surprised what you're going to learn. So make sure you hang out because we're going to have a lot of fun on this one. Matter of fact, truth be known, the whole reason I don't do relocation retreats with Michael Allen and Sarah Elena is because I shared this same information and Sarah says, "You're making me lose business." But first, I'm not going to get into all that drama, but I do think it's funny. So, but first, hey, it's your first time here. Who is that crazy bald guy and that good-looking chick on his side? Well, I'm Alan, and that
Rebecca.
Is Rebecca. Hey, we've been living in Costa Rica since 2013. Traveled all over the place, over 25 different locations and houses on purpose. Well, most of the time. Trying to find our perfect slice of paradise. We finally did, and now we're here. Just giving our perspective and views on life in Costa Rica. So, hey, it's our perspective. Your perspective may be different.
My perspective is different from yours.
Yeah, your perspective is hugely different from mine. I'm like, what? So it's okay if you don't agree. And so the big question is, well, all right, what's the gimmick? Why are you telling us all this stuff? What's your ulterior motive? Well, there is no ulterior motive. We have nothing to sell you. Not trying to con you or convince you to come to Costa Rica so you can buy more of my product and services. We just have fun sharing this information in hopes, because we have been conned. We've made a lot of mistakes, and we simply don't want you to make the same mistake. So, hey, this week, it's been just kind of a crazy week, and so I hadn't got a whole lot done on the off-grid homestead, so hey, why don't we just dive into it? But before we do, hey, welcome. Already there's a lot of folks here. I love Doug, Devil Dog. He made it on time today. I was beginning to wonder if he was a Marine or not. In the Marine Corps, you're told if you ain't 15 minutes early, you late. So you always early. Pam and Tom. I can't wait. They coming to see me pretty soon, bringing me some stuff too. I think I'm going to see if I can get Pam bring me some cornbread. Eduardo been traveling all around. Good to see you. Randy, always good to see Randy. So, hey, let's get into it. Thanks for everybody that's here. And look, hey, do me a favor. You can really help support this channel by hitting that thumbs up, liking, sharing, and just kind of, share this out there so the algorithm will say, hey, they must like this stuff. Engagement. Of course, you always make it funner when you engage and we have fun. So, hey, let's get into it. So, hey, I shouldn't even ask her. She knows the answer. But, when you first got to Costa Rica, I mean, when you're doing research on the internet, you really are sold. Oh, look at that. Hey, get out of town. Pause for a moment. Pam says she's bringing me a bag of cornbread. Make sure it's a big bag.
Pam.
Hey, don't get no little tiny box of Jiffy Mix.
Don't go through any trouble.
Sound like she just don't want to cook it. That's all. All right.
We don't even have an oven.
I'll find one.
You're gonna have to make a fire and put it in like
I'll
a
cook it in a skillet.
cast iron skillet.
Cast iron skillet cornbread. Anyway,
Can always go to the neighbors and ask them to.
you know what
cook
they're
it.
saying? They're like, get back on topic. Okay. All right. So, will another, we have gotten used to the fact that if, as a gringo, and if you come here as a foreigner, you're going to get conned. You're going to get cheated. You're going to get overcharged. But will a Tico con another Tico? So when you first came to Costa Rica, what was your thoughts on that?
I didn't think that would happen.
Wait a minute. She didn't think that would happen. Sounded like she changed her mind.
I was very, very naive.
Well, I think everybody is naive because I mean, you are just you're sold this story, you sold this lie that Costa Rica is this unbelievably perfect place, that you're gonna come down here and it's like, pura vida.
But I should have known better because, I mean, would a Louisianan
cheat another
Louisianan?
It ain't no way in the world another Cajun would treat another Cajun. I might drink some of your beer, but I eat some of your crawfish, but I ain't gonna steal none from you.
That's not true. That happens all the time.
No.
Oh, yes.
Cajuns are good people.
They are, but they still will do stuff like that. That happens all over the world. The point is that, just like you were saying, I just had this idea of this idyllic paradise that all the people, because I read how much everybody, was so friendly and they are, but they are still human beings. And so don't be naive in thinking that everybody has your best interest. And, if somebody offers you a cab ride because the bus is not coming, and you only charge you half price, and all that
the bus
garbage.
Really is coming.
And the bus is coming, but it tells you that it's not, so that you'll take the taxi. What else? He got a $1,000 iPhone for half price.
Look, all kind of stuff. So really, the best piece of advice that Rebecca just said is, don't be gullible, right? Don't be naive. I mean, you have untrusting people all over the world, and it does seem like the world has just gotten worse everywhere you go. But look, I can share this information because I do a lot of business dealings with a lot of Ticos, and I've got a lot of Tico friends. And look, most of the people with YouTube channels, they don't. They're in their own little world, and they're in their own little world because the reason they have a YouTube channel is they're making money off of you. Okay, they're conning you, right? They're conning you into coming to Costa Rica. I do a lot of business dealings with Ticos, got a lot of good Tico friends. And so I want to preference this by saying, look, not every Tico is bad. Now, while in my opinion, the majority of the Ticos, and it really is what I'm going to share with you is very, very commonplace. And the majority of the Ticos will. Look, there are some really good Ticos out there. And so I'm going to share a true story that happened this week. So there are some really good Ticos, but you can't just go trusting the very first Tico because he's nice. I've seen it so many times. Oh my gosh, but Alan, you don't understand. My neighbors, they're just the best people in the world. They would never do me wrong. 2 months later, Alan, you was right. You was right. Conned. It happens. It really does happen. So you got to be careful.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, if I were traveling to Nicaragua or Honduras or, I don't know, Venezuela, I would have my guard very much up. And, but you think when you come into Costa Rica, it's all just pura vida, and, you can just relax. And you think about how many bachelor parties, bachelorette parties, or just friends come and celebrate. They've gotten their cell phones stolen. They've gotten their money, their wallets taken, because they're so relaxed and just enjoying and having a good time that they throw caution and good sense
to the wind.
Yeah, to the wind. Now, especially if you're partying.
Yeah. You're partying,
like
you're
that
having a good
late
time.
at night and stuff. Stuff doesn't really happen that much during the daytime hours.
But
it does happen.
It does happen. Now, I'm going to share a few things. Dennis says, there are more good Ticos than bad ones.
Oh, no.
Rebecca would agree with you. I would disagree.
There's
okay. And
one bad for every, I don't know, 1,000.
Here's my proof. Here's my proof. Here's my proof. Okay, my proof is, how many houses in Costa Rica do you see without bars? Very few. Why is that? Because every sinking Tico has bars on the windows, because they expect every Tico that's going to come by is going to steal stuff off their porch or rob them.
I don't agree. Okay, like when we lived in Morazan, all the houses had bars and gates, big gates and stuff. There was one thief in the whole neighborhood.
Oh, no.
And everybody knew who that was. And so one bad apple makes it a rotten pie for everybody else.
Wait a minute. Okay, she said when we was living in Morazan, how many days were we there before we got robbed?
We didn't even fully move in.
Okay.
We were just moving our stuff. Okay,
point proven. I win.
It was the local thief. I mean, it's not like how many other
we hadn't even
people
moved in, and they stole over $1,000 worth of tools. Okay, so.
But how many other people were good? So good, friendly. We went for walks. We had our cats, our dogs.
So let me share some other. So like Dennis said, based on his experience, more good ones. Well, you just haven't been here long enough. Keep going, Dennis, but that's okay. You don't have to agree with me. Yeah, you can join the Rebecca team. And so anyway, now look, I want to share something right here, because Eduardo's been in and out Costa Rica a whole lot, and he's like, a friend Tico lent his car to another Tico because his car was broke down, and his friend had the same car, so his friend took and put his engine in his other friend's car, and now his car don't work, and he got a good car.
Oh man,
that's funny right there. we could end the video here.
I do believe that, and I know that stuff happens, but how many good people? There are lots and lots of good people. Look, go down to at the bottom where what Eduardo says. He says, sorry.
Let's see right here. Oh, look, Rebecca, look, Eduardo's with me. Okay, I think we got 100 people on my team and 2 on Rebecca's team. Sorry, Rebecca, but Alan's right.
I'm an optimist, but what you're about to share would happen to our very...
Don't feel bad, Dennis. It's you and Rebecca, but it's me and 100 other people.
Well, and what you're about to share about our neighbor, that would happen. Our neighbor is such a good guy, honest guy. I hate that happened to him.
Now, Randy brings up something here that I meant to say in the intro. Is what I'm going to share today cultural or not? Okay, what I'm going to share with you, is it cultural? So guys, remind me to bring that up, because in the end, I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to share with you, with what I'm going to share with you, is it a cultural thing or not? Because what Randy's saying, a culture is what it is. Just accept it and move on, live on. And that is, that is true. You will never change a culture. So when you come to Costa Rica and you find out that going to the bank is going to take you 2 hours, that's a cultural thing, okay? And so you have to say, well, why is that? Well, because they love to just sit there and talk, and they just do things that's just very slow. It's a cultural thing. You accept it and move on, okay?
I mean, they do. They accept it.
Yeah, well, we have to accept it too. Otherwise, if you don't accept it,
you just go around complaining and
leave. Don't stay here, right?
And don't do what Alan does. He speaks in English like as if nobody can understand English. And I'm telling you, a lot of people, they may not be able to speak it and have a conversation with you, but they do know what the word stupid means. I mean, the Spanish word is el stupido.
El stupido.
So when
I'm aggravated, I'm like, this is stupid.
I think
they're like, Gringo, you stupid.
So I'm glad you've gotten over a lot of that.
So,
but
yeah, I mean, I have come a long ways, and my personality is very different than Rebecca's. Hers is pretty. She's been Tica for a long time. So anyway, I mean, I don't even need to share this thing here, because people are already sharing a lot of stuff here. that people are sharing. I'm taking a look here because there's a lot of there's a lot of anyway. So
be friendly, but don't trust anybody. That's my advice.
Yeah,
don't be naive.
That's
don't
very
be gullible.
Good advice.
But then don't assume that
don't
everybody
assume
is
that
bad.
everybody's trying to rip you off.
There are good, friendly people that are upset with what goes on in their country. They don't like it.
Well, look,
but there's no law enforcement.
Every single Tico that I have talked to that are good Ticos, they hate. They all hate that their country is the way it is.
Yeah,
they do.
I think that's one of the biggest disadvantages of being a foreigner, not just for the locals, the people who, the Ticos, but like us as foreigners, we have no recourse. We got robbed and we went to make a police report, and
a waste of time.
If you're in an accident, it's going to be a problem.
It's against you. Yeah.
Okay. You're taking a chance, but so are they. It's the same thing. It's just there are a lot of laws, but not enough people enforcing it. Yeah. Although they are making arrests and trying to stop like all the carjackings and stuff that are happening in the city.
They're trying to make improvements, but the reality is
because this stuff is happening in the city.
Yeah. There's not enough law enforcement to enforce the actual laws. So there's, so you have to understand there's always going to be this. So let me back up and let me just share a story because, it's common knowledge. Gringo, you are going to get taken advantage of, and you have to understand that is a very, very, very cultural thing.
When the lady at the farmer's market tries to charge me double for a cucumber, that's just.
And so why is that? That's because she looks at you as a gringo and she's like, you've got too much money. And since you got too much money, I want a piece of your pie. And you don't know how much a cucumber is anyway. You probably pay more for it in the United States. So I'm going to overcharge you. So she wants to get a piece of that pie. She's not understanding. And hardly any Ticos will say, I'm going to charge her the right price. I'm going to build a relationship and she's going to come back again and again and again. And I'm going to keep making money. Instead of Tico's thinking is, I'm going to get as much money as I can off of them right now. Down the road, maybe they'll never find out I cheated them. They'll never make any money. But what's going to happen is I'm going to find out you cheated me and you'll never see me again. Okay.
And a lot of times these are business transactions. Getting the car repaired, having to buy materials, doing that kind of shopping. Just the everyday going to the grocery or a restaurant. It's not like that. It's
Now, Evelina has a good comment here. She says, sorry, it moved up real quick. Evelina says, I don't get it when Alan says cops will always trust a Tico or a foreigner, even when you go to court in 99% of the time. I say always. I shouldn't say always. The majority of the time. It's very rare if you ever go to court will a foreigner win. And why is that? And you say it's not like any other countries. Being a foreigner doesn't mean you're wrong. No. But being a foreigner means you have the money and you can afford to lose the money. That's their thinking, okay?
It's almost like they have the attitude of, you should have known better.
Right, you should have known better, okay?
And why are you here if...
So, you come to this country, you have a lot more money. You can afford to move to this country. You got a house in the United States. You're going to come down here and buy a piece of property. You're going to rent a house. You can afford to share a piece of your pie. That's the thinking, okay? It's very much third world thinking. So that's what it is. So anyway.
Let me say this. Let me correct this. This is not an issues of personal safety. These things that we're talking about with the cops, these are little things like petty theft. Somebody stole.
Someone ran into your car and it was their fault.
Right.
Buy another car, gringo.
They stole your propane tank, or took your keys and purse and everything off of the beach because you were swimming and weren't paying attention
and
to
stupid.
Your stuff.
Don't leave your valuables on the beach.
Right, that kind of thing. Now, I have found that just from seeing the news reports, from what I read, when it's personal injury, somebody's life, they take it very, very seriously, and they are very protective of the foreigners. for one thing, they're concerned for getting a bad rating as far as being put on high alert for travel advisory, travel warnings. But I would hope that, and I believe that they actually care about people,
Right.
Because they are good people and caring people. So when it comes to personal safety, life-threatening things, they are very serious, and they will protect you. And
they're going to do the best of their ability.
Yeah, and you can go to the cops, and stuff like that. So when we say this, we're talking about petty theft, things that can be replaced,
right.
Things that, okay, so you got to buy another propane tank. Okay, it's not that it's not a big deal. It feels like an injustice done to you, but you'll survive.
Yeah,
but you will be protected by the cops.
Yeah. So Evelina, you don't have to worry. You're a single woman and you're walking down the street. Yeah, you're not going to be automatically wrong. Okay. Mm-hmm. But we're talking about petty stuff. And some of it's not so petty. Somebody ran into my car, okay, on purpose because I'm a gringo. So let me, you just have to understand. You have to be very careful, and you cannot. I mean, you have to do exactly what my friend Doug is saying. You can't trust anybody. Trust is something that you must earn, and I made that mistake. I trusted anybody. Now I've got a neighbor. I got a Tico who's a extremely. He's my best friend here in Costa Rica. He's a Tico. He owns a couple of businesses. He has proven to be an extremely trustworthy person. I got a neighbor, extremely trustworthy. I've helped him a ton. He's helped me a ton.
He's had multiple opportunities to cheat us because we didn't know, and he chose not to.
Okay. So let me share this story. And I can share lots of stories on how Ticos have gotten ripped off. So my best friend has told me many times. Okay. So it's almost this right here. If a Tico thinks you have more money than him, it's a game. I'm going to try to get as much money from you as I can. And if I got to cheat you to do it, I will. Okay. So Ticos, the majority of the Ticos or let me put it this way. Any Ticos who have no morals and want to cheat you, they could care less. There are no rules. It's a game on what can I do to get as much of your money, because I don't want to earn it. I just want to take it. Okay. So, I have a Tico who, my best friend, he owns a couple of businesses. So anytime he does anything, he's always getting what we would call the gringo price. They always want to try to take advantage of him because he has worked hard to have a business. And so they always want to take advantage of it. So I'm really just upset. And this is what inspired today's live chat, because I've got a neighbor, and for privacy reasons, I'm not going to say where he's at or anything like that, or his name or anything, but he's a super good guy. This guy could have cheated me many times, and he hasn't. Okay. But he has a small tourist business, and he has really worked hard to build some little cabins and stuff. He works hard to bring people. People like to go see some waterfalls and nature trails and, see some stuff on his property. And so a couple of weekends ago, he had this one, he had over 30 people. So you always have in Costa Rica these self-appointed guides or self-appointed tourist people. And so they will get a bunch of people together and let's go here, let's go there. Well, this one guy, he collected money from 30 different people, brings them all up here on the mountain to my neighbor's place, okay? So they can go waterfalls, bird watching, all of this great stuff, okay? Now, it's not uncommon at all that these people that are using WhatsApp, and then they will get a tiny deposit, okay? Tiny deposit, and then expect the other person to pay off the rest in cash by hand. Okay. This is a very cultural thing. I'm going to pay a tiny deposit because anything I pay electronically can be tracked. Cash, I can give you all of this cash. It can't be tracked. I'm not paying taxes on it, all of this stuff. Okay. I'm not judging anybody. Okay. I'll go into some more details later. So, this guy who arranged 30 people to come to his place and do all of this tourism sold it, and he paid this tiny deposit, comes down here knowing, he knows there's no internet up here. There's no mobile coverage. And most people will pay with what's called SimPay. It's a way to just pay with your phone. And so guess what? He comes down here. Oh, I didn't bring the cash. I was going to pay you SimPay. I didn't know there was internet. I tell you what, I'll pay as soon as I get back to town. Well, my neighbor trusted him. Never trust a Tico. My best friend tells me, never trust a Tico. Okay. Well, what he's really saying is you don't trust anybody, whether he's Colombian, United States, Mexican. Don't trust nobody. The world has just gone bad. But my neighbor trusted him. Guess what? The guy leaves, and my neighbor spent tons of money for food, tourism, all of this stuff. Guess what? The guy never paid him, refuses to answer his text messages. How much money did my neighbor lose? Over 1.5 million colones, which translates to over $3,000. Now, not only did the guy not pay him that $3,000, but my friend already paid out because he didn't have enough cabins or anything like that. And so he paid for other cabins in the area. He had to pay for the taxis to come by. He paid a lot of stuff. Okay. So he ended up losing. And when my neighbor told me this the other day, I could just see it in his eyes. I mean, he was so hurt. $3,000. He spent a lot of his own personal money, personal savings. He lost a ton of money. Okay. And I could just see it all over him because he's not like all the other Ticos. He's lived up here on the mountain away from the rest of Costa Rica. He hasn't traveled all over Costa Rica. I don't even know if he's ever been to San Jose. Okay. So he lives up here where we got this subculture of Ticos where we understand each other, protect each other. But, and he's thinking other Ticos are that same way. No. He got taken advantage of. He got cheated big time. Now, like I said, I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to prepare you. I'm trying to help you to understand the mentality of many corrupt Ticos. And whether you believe there's more good Ticos than there are bad, and look, that's totally up to you. Rebecca, she has not had to do any of the dealings I've had to do. And so all the people she's dealt with, guess what? It's conversational. They're talking to people. And so no money is involved. I've done a ton of dealings with Ticos where there's money involved. Anytime there's money involved, they're corrupt. And I'm going to share a couple of other stories. So it kind of goes back to what I'm looking right here. Pig says it's game theory. Absolutely. What it is, and it's exactly what Michael Allen and I used to do lives together. And Michael Allen, I know him inside and out. And he's like, I just played the game better. They just played the game better. Michael Allen will cheat you in a heartbeat because all right, we buffered there for a moment. So anyway, it kind of goes back to what Pigs was saying. It really is game theory. And that's what the Ticos are thinking. I just played the game better. So if you have no morals or no conscience, so, I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just trying to prepare you. If you know this, then when you come down here, you won't be so gullible. Okay.
So this is situation with the tour guide. This is a really good example of Costa Rica having a law in place and it not being enforced, because the law is you have to be a certified, licensed tour guide. You're supposed to go to classes and have some type of validation, but nobody follows that.
Yeah. Now there are certain way you say there are a lot of certified tour guides, but there's a lot of uncertified tour guides. Doesn't mean they're not good, but
they probably are good. They just don't have the money maybe to go to school, go do the training or whatever. But my point is that no one does anything about it. Nobody stops it. Because everybody just lets it go.
Well, my neighbor, he got cheated out of $3,000. Is he going to file a police report? No. Why? He knows nothing will happen. Okay. And so this is where, and this happens a lot. I'm not telling you to do this, just sharing a story. In Costa Rica, it's self-justice. They will set up a trap. They will go and take justice. I'm not telling you to do that. Okay. I will tell you, I've done that. Okay. I've had a guy come down here and he was tearing up. I mean, he was tearing up the soccer field. And this is a soccer field for a community. Okay. He's going through there, mud riding, tearing it up. And these people got to take care of it. And I went out there to stop him. I was security that day. He wouldn't listen to me. He's throwing mud all over me. And I'm holding on to the side of his vehicle, about to get thrown off. That's all right. When he stopped, took my machete out, flattened his tire. Guess what? He stopped. You can either stop when I tell you to, or you're going to stop when I make you. Okay. So am I telling you to go and be a vigilante? No, because I could get in trouble for that. Okay. But
the only reason why you didn't is because you were protecting something that belonged to the community,
and the community everybody
has that
my
was
back.
Right. Everybody that was there was in agreement with what they were all against. What this guy was doing.
They were all very upset that he was tearing up their soccer field, their football field. But you have to understand, Ticos, they are not confrontational. They're sitting there just upset as they can be because this guy is tearing it up. I go out there and stop it. Guess what? They're like, we sure glad Alan's here, okay? Because he ain't going to let that guy tear up our stuff. And that guy, he'll never come back again. Promise you, okay? And everybody that was around that saw that, they're like, dude, this guy ain't going to let that crap happen, okay? So, it's unfortunate, but if there was a police there, that wouldn't happen. I had to be the self-appointed police. So you see, in Costa Rica, they don't have enough police to enforce the laws. There's a lot of laws, and these laws are to help Costa Rica be better. They just don't have anyone to enforce the laws. So these are things you need to know about, okay?
Rick is asking if we're tour guides. No, we are not.
Yeah, no, I'm not a tour guide. That's the reason we don't sell anything on our channel. We both work. We both make money. We don't need to sell you stuff or con you into coming to Costa Rica, but you can be a tour guide. And no, I'm not a tour guide at all. Okay. Matter of fact, Michael Allen's not a tour guide, but he calls himself a travel agency. He's not a travel agency. He sells you stuff, and he just, all he does is he buys stuff, sells it to you for hire. He's making nothing wrong with that, but anyway. Okay. So, but there's a lot of stuff. It's like Eduardo. Eduardo's from the United States, Florida, I think. He comes back and forth. He's married to a Tica, but he says, I left a house in Guanacaste with a lot of construction materials. They took 80% of everything, 45 bricks, 5 cement bags, iron rods, sand, tools. Look.
We hear that all the time.
That's very, very, very common. So if you build a house in Costa Rica, you better have someone like me on the job. Now, am I for hire? Probably not. I stay busy. But if I'm bored and I got the time, yeah, you can hire me if you can afford me. Okay. But I'm not saying hire me. I'm saying make sure you have someone you trust on the job. Because if you don't, I'm telling you, you will lose more money. You will save money if you have someone on the job. You got to have someone on the job. You hire a Tico to be security. I give you some money if you turn the eye and let me steal all this stuff, and it will happen. It will happen. So you just have to be careful, okay? So the best thing you can do is the best thing to do is when you're really serious about considering something, I'm not trying to sell you. You can, time is money. And if you want to save time, schedule a phone consultation, and I'll be glad to share with you and tell you and advise what's the best thing for you to do in whatever scenario you're in, because I have the experience and I can share with you and help you to save money. Okay. So, and look, Rick says, thank you because I've been following you and Michael and I trust your videos more. I greatly appreciate it. I'm not trying to convince you that I'm better than Michael or anything. Michael and I were friends, or I thought he actually was using me. Hey, I don't have any problem letting you know when I've been conned, and I got proof. Okay, the videos, you can watch the videos. I'll put the link in the description if you want, if you missed all that. It's just that, hey,
do you want to bring up all that?
I don't want to bring up all that garbage, but hey, they're on the channel and you can watch that stuff. Okay. So, and look, Evelina says, I've heard about security and I heard that they've gotten some Ticos together to get rid of squatters because squatters got too many rights. Absolutely. You have to do that. There's a lot of things that you just have to be careful about. Okay. So I'm kind of passing through here. Here's another scenario. Okay. So let me share another story. And I think I've shared bits of this story in maybe other videos. But for you guys that don't know, I don't share this a whole lot. But before Rebecca and I came here, we're both pastors inside of a church in Louisiana. Okay. Ordained pastors. Okay. We love to help people. And so I came to Costa Rica, and we came here believing that God has led us and directed us here to start, do something. But anyway, long story short, I made friends with a Tico who claims to be a pastor, has a church. He's an attorney. Okay. Well, I'm helping him to try to grow his church, preaching in his church. Okay. I'm actually helping him. Okay. I'm trusting this guy because I just typically trust all pastors. Can you trust all pastors? No, you cannot. Even in the United States, you cannot trust. There are some people that become pastors because it's easy to con you. Okay. So you just can't trust anybody these days. So anyway, I'm trusting this guy because I'm gullible. I'm just a helpful guy. Well, guess what? I needed some legal work done. And so he gives me this price. And I'm like, wait. I don't want the Gringo price. I want the Tico price. And he laughs and says, you Gringo, you pay in dollars. I'm like, I was shocked. I mean, I was just blown away. But it is just very common in Costa Rica. They want the USD. They want dollars because that dollar is more valuable. So they always going to charge you in dollars, and they inflate the price instead of giving you the Tico price. Not everybody. I say always. I actually met an attorney. She was very, very, very nice. And whenever I went and bought that land, she actually charged me in colonas. Okay. But most Ticos always going to charge you in dollars, and they're going to inflate the price. Okay. So they can make more money. It's mind blowing to me, the stuff that actually happens.
In any contract, any purchase, make sure to get it in writing. Make sure to get all the details, all the ins and outs of it, be specified, because don't be so trusting that it's going to be done the right way. In the U.S., I've said this before, in the U.S., people don't stay in business if they cheat others. It gets reported, something happens. They don't stay in business long.
Yeah.
But it's not like that here. So
now, I love Eduardo. Eduardo has shared some things privately with me. Okay. And he says, wow, you two are hitting home runs today. The truth is the truth. Now, Eduardo is just a good old boy. Okay. So if you knew anything about Eduardo, I mean, that dude would give you the shirt off his back. Matter of fact, he'd give you his pants too and walk home naked. Okay. Eduardo's just a good old boy. He's friendly to everybody. Okay. He's friendly to all the Ticos, but he almost lost his house. Okay. And I have to honestly say that the only reason he didn't lose his house is because he's so doggone friendly that whenever the Ticos that was trying to steal his house and they were trying to put the house in their name, then the people over at the municipality, they contacted Eduardo and said, hey, this is happening. Did you authorize this? And he immediately said, no. And he had to make an emergency trip down here to stop it. So he had some Ticos that I have no doubt he thought was his friends try to steal his house. Okay. So I'm just trying to share this stuff because, it's unfortunate, but I'm trying to prepare you. I share this stuff not to scare you, but to prepare you. If you know about it, then you're like, hey, look, Alan said, don't trust anybody. Be careful. Be careful. Be careful. Trust is earned. Okay.
Yeah. Because it is a paradise.
Yeah.
And the people are very friendly. It is wonderful. but the rules, the laws are a little bit lax.
The laws of the land are different.
Yeah. And I would say, like, you were talking about a cultural thing. It's almost like a bonus point or whatever, like if you're able to get a little extra, it's just kind of the practice. Now, it's not like that with the big stores,
I mean, big chain stores you don't have to worry about,
Yeah. But it's almost like a badge of honor if you
yeah,
got a little bit extra. That means that you were
conniving, you played the game
you
better.
thought well, you were able to be convincing, and
Now check out
that's frowned upon in the U.S.
Yeah.
It happens all the time, but it's frowned upon.
Now Shannon shares, and Shannon is one of my clients, one of the subscribers, of course, who hired me to inspect his house and things like that. Okay, and I shared with him some stuff that he needed to do. Well, he actually asked for a contractor because he wants to build a deck on his house, and he says, I'm currently adding a deck on the house that I bought. And your friend Jorge was adamant, went down and bought a padlock for the gate because he was afraid. He knows that materials don't just disappear over the weekend. See, and so the contractor that I recommended for Shannon to use, good guy. I mean, he will treat you right. He won't cheat you. He goes out of his way. And he says, look, Shannon, you got to have a padlock, because if we don't, this stuff will get stolen. Okay. So it doesn't matter where you live at. You got to be careful. And so, Shannon, I'm so glad that you shared that. I'm going to be sure to reach out to Jorge. He's a good guy. Amazing guy. Okay. But there's just a lot of things. So, you want to be careful. Now, Skyline did share something that is true. Okay. Skyline says, in terms of trustworthiness, Ticos are way better than Panamanians. Whoop, 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 whoop. You are absolutely 1,000% correct. That's the reason we're not living in Panama. He says, I can guarantee you that 100%. I feel safer in Colombia too. I've lived in Argentina. No, I feel safer than Colombia, Argentina. So anyway, he feels a whole lot safer in Costa Rica than some of the other places he lived at. So while Costa Rica does have some bad things, it's safer than some of the other places. And look, I agree with that.
I say the good outweighs the bad.
Yeah.
A lot.
And she might be right. I'm not going to ever admit that, but she might be right. I mean, here's the thing. The good does outweigh the bad. When it comes to the pros and cons of living in Costa Rica, I will never go back. I will probably never live anywhere else, because I love the climate. I love the good friends that I've made, the ones that I trust, okay? And we look out for each other. I mean, my neighbor has had the opportunity to cheat me left and right if he wanted to. But we help each other out a lot, and he doesn't. So you just got to be careful. So check out what Evelina says. For those who don't know any better there, what would you do in our situation? I can see the religious community isn't any better. Absolutely. The religious community is not any better. So if you come down to Costa Rica, don't make the mistake that Rebecca and I made. I just thought that everybody was as honest as I am, and they're not. So just don't trust anybody. Always double check everything. Just be very careful. So anytime that you get any work done, contract 2 or 3 contractors, talk to people like me so that you can get recommendations. Talk to other gringos, get recommendations. Did you feel like they were helping you? So there's a lot of things you can do. Matter of fact, I'll be introducing you guys to a very honest Tico that I use a whole lot when I need help. When I need to buy a house, I need to buy a car, I need to buy a property, I pay this guy. He gives me the best price in the world because he's trustworthy. So there's a lot of things like that you can do so that you don't get ripped off, okay? So there's just lots and lots of things that you can do to be very careful. But, we do these lives to make you aware so that, there's a lot of things that when my neighbor told me about how he lost $3,000, I felt so bad for him. I really did. I just, and I knew that could happen. He didn't realize it could happen because he lives way up here away from rest of Costa Rica. He learned a hard lesson, And so I'm trying to help him to kind of put some things in place so that mistake doesn't ever happen again. Okay. But you just got to be careful. You just got to be careful. Okay. So, so let's go to that. Since here we got about 15 minutes left. So I'm sharing with you about some of these unethical practices that happen in Costa Rica all the time. But the question is it cultural? In my opinion, what do you think, Rebecca? Do you think it's a cultural thing? We talked about it, so she's got an unfair advantage.
What I mentioned as being a cultural thing, like it's almost a kudos and a good job if you're able to get something over on somebody in some of the business transactions. But I think as a culture, it's just a few bad people, that don't do right, and the law enforcement is not there, and they're non-confrontational for the most part, so they just put up with it. And so the public, the masses just have to sit there and take it.
Yeah. So let me explain to you why, in my opinion, there's a lot of theft, a lot of petty theft. And why is that? In my opinion, it's very, very cultural. It has always been that way. It will always be that way. And here's my opinion. Doesn't mean I'm right. Okay. I mean, I've never been wrong. I thought I was wrong one time, but I was only mistaken. So here's my thoughts on that. All of this crime and the stuff that I shared today, it's very cultural. Why is that? You see, Costa Rica, the majority of the people are much, much more broke. They don't have near the money that we have, okay? So they don't have a lot of money. The majority of the Ticos are living on under $1,000 a month. And out here in the agricultural areas, it's not uncommon up here for people to live on $250 a month, $500 a month, in a lot of small towns, okay? So they don't have a lot of money.
They don't have the opportunities.
And yeah, the government makes it very, very difficult for business owners to make any money at all. Okay. Just very difficult. But yet big businesses can bribe so they don't have to pay as much taxes. It's all this craziness. So what happens is that the Ticos can see how crooked the government is. So here's what the Ticos do. They do everything they can to not pay taxes. Just like my neighbor, he should have made the guy pay all of it electronically. But if he'd have paid all of it electronically, he would have paid more taxes. So they're trying to do everything they can to make money because the government just cheats them so terribly, okay? So guess what? It's very, very cultural. The country is broke. The government makes it broke. They see how crooked the government is. They're doing the exact same thing as the government. And so because the country is so broke, or people are broke, it's a cultural thing. They're trying to make money any way they can, and if they got to rip people off to do it, they will do it. It's kind of a survival mentality. So it is a very cultural thing. It's been happening forever and ever and ever and ever. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
You have to be
They feel
careful.
like $2 isn't going to hurt you.
That's right.
$20 isn't going to hurt you. $200 isn't going to hurt you. Even $2,000 is not going to hurt you.
That's right.
They...
So I mean, this tourist guy that arranged these 30 people to come down here, in his mind, here's what he's thinking. Well, if this Tico living up here in the mountains can afford to have all of these cabins and he can afford to feed us, well, guess what? He's got more money than me. So I'm just going to cheat him, and I'm going to give him this tiny deposit. I'm not going to pay him. And so game over, I win the game. And that's the mentality, okay? So You just have to be careful. Hey, big shout out to Uncle Chico. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate Uncle Chico. He likes to support us in a big, big way, and he supports us by hitting the $ on YouTube, and you can do that as well, or you can join our members-only community. There's lots of ways to support us. And hey, I just want to say thank you so much, Uncle Chico. Greatly appreciate you. But hey, we do appreciate you. It does help offset some of the costs. We don't do this for money, but we do greatly appreciate that when you support us. We appreciate it greatly, 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 greatly. Any amount you give us, okay? So, anyway, folks, hey, now's a good time that if I didn't answer your question, put your question in the chat box and I'll answer your question. So be careful. Now, Evelina asked the question, was your neighbor pressured not to take the money up front? No, he wasn't. It's just that is a cultural thing. The cultural thing is take a tiny deposit and then take the cash in hand once they arrive. And if it's cash, but see, normally in most places in Costa Rica, well, guess what? They can immediately send the money, okay? But this is not a typical location. We live way, 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 way away. Most places, well, I won't say that. No, most places in Costa Rica, there is mobile service, cellular service. But we live very, very remote. Now, there are a lot of areas that don't have good cellular service, but for the most part, most places in Costa Rica do have cellular service, and so they could take money. This guy knew there was no mobile service up here, and he knew how to con my neighbor, knew how to take advantage of him. So that's what happened. Oh, Eduardo shared an experience that I have experienced as well. He said he was eating lunch with a Tico. He came, sat next to me, talking with Eduardo. He ordered 6 beers, some fish. He finished his food. He got up to pay for his food, and the lady told him that Eduardo's only going to pay and you pay. So I'm not quite sure, but sounds like the guy was trying to get Eduardo to pay for his stuff, and that happens a lot. You go to a bar, you go to a restaurant, guy sits with you, he'll order stuff and will tell the waitress that it's on you, okay? I actually was sitting at a restaurant. This lady I knew, okay, just a friend, sits down. I sit down. She orders something to eat. We're sitting there. We're talking. And I get ready to go pay for my food. Remember, I don't speak a lot of Spanish. I'm improving my Spanish all the time, okay? I go to pay for my meal, and the cashier tells me she ordered 3 plates to go for her children. I'm like, what? What? So I felt sorry for the lady, and I just went ahead, paid the bill, and didn't say anything. But that is what happens. I'm sitting. So you know what? In the future, I'd be like, hey, I will make it very clear. I'm paying for my food. You're paying for your food. It happens, people. It's a game, okay? So you just have to understand. So Evelina says, is there a reason for the deposit culture besides tax evasion? No, that's it. It's just tax evasion. In the United States, you might have someone pay a half a deposit or something, pay a little deposit. That way I know you're coming and I can plan everything, and then you pay the rest when you get here. Even in big stores, chain stores, I can go into some of the big stores and I can tell them, they will ask me, I'm going to order some materials, construction materials. I can order $2,000 or $3,000, $5,000 worth of construction materials. They're going to ask me, are you going to pay with your tarjeta, your credit card, or are you going to pay cash? If you pay with cash, then I can give you a better deal. Tax evasion. That's all it is. That's all it is. Okay. So you need to know about that. So Chris asked a question. If I'm getting about $6,000 a month in retirement as a pensionada, I will be, okay? Is Tamarindo or Escazú a better choice? I hear to avoid Lemoyne. Avoid Lemoyne, avoid Tamarindo. If you want to live somewhere, Escazú is the city. I would live anywhere in the world other than where there's a lot of expats or where there's a lot of tourists. Tamarindo has a lot of tourists. Everything's going to be way, way, way more expensive. Okay, if you live in the outskirts of Escazú, then you could get something that won't be too terribly expensive. But yes, with $6,000 a month in pensionado as a retirement guy, you can live like a king. Matter of fact, you can invite me over and I'll order a case of beer and a seafood platter because as a pensionado, you can afford it. Just teasing. But yes, $6,000 a month in Costa Rica, you can live like a king. You really can. You can waste money and still have money left over. It is still expensive in Costa Rica, but really, when you come to Costa Rica, and you pay for your property, and look, I mean, it's just not that much,
No.
you know.
Well, like Tamarindo is high tourist destination, not just for tourists, but people, expats living there. So that drives the price of property up.
Yeah.
There's really nothing that special about Tamarindo. I mean, the beach, there are countless beaches like Tamarindo's beach. You just, for some reason, it has caught on, just like Playa del Coco and,
Uvita,
it's just caught on. But if you take time to look elsewhere, there's still beachfront property. Costa Rica is just coastline on both sides. A lot of
coastline, beautiful coastline.
And so there's plenty of beautiful beaches. And then you can just go into town to, for the culture, the restaurants and the camaraderie with expats and so forth. And then as far as Escazú, if you have the money to like live outside of San Jose, there's Cartago, Cordobat, Escazú. What are some of the others? Anyway, if you can like build up in the mountains that surround the city, to me that's ideal because you're a short drive to the city, but yet you're up in those elevations, up in the mountains with the views are spectacular. And if you live outside of San Jose, kind of like up the mountain in the countryside, the beach is only 45 minutes away.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, it's kind of like the best of both worlds. We don't like it that much because, I don't know, it's not a lot of greenery. There's not a lot of jungle like what we live in.
It's a lot drier up that way in the north part of Costa Rica.
And it's developed.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of subdivisions and, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah. And so anyway, Chris says, consider it done. You'll be my first guest. Woohoo! Get some cold Islands apple juice. So, hey, Evelina says, there's another channel that says that they tried to buy 60 rural acres, but every Tico told them it would be cost prohibitive to manage that much land. Is that because of some HOO type rule? No, they're getting conned. Okay. So my neighbor, and most Ticos, they can go and buy a lot of property and buy it way cheaper than you can. Okay. Because they know the real value of that property. Okay. And it's like you buy 60 acres. You don't have to do anything to manage it. Let the thing grow up in forest. Put some cows on it. Okay. So, most channels, and look, I hate to say it, most channels on YouTube are trying to make money off of you, okay? They're trying to sell you something, and they're not giving you the truth. And look, the fact is that most channels, they don't have the experience we have. Come on, Michael Allen's been here for stinking 19 years. He's lived in one place, and most of the time didn't have a car. Come on, he doesn't know anything about Costa Rica. He doesn't do nothing with the Ticos. That's most channels, okay? But they got to make money, and they make money by conning you. That's the truth, okay? Pamela shared a very good fact. Says our friends in Coco, that's way in the north part, say they have to watch the receipts at the gas station because they're known for adding to your card. And look, that has become such a popular scam that when I go to the gas station, not every place, in a lot of the gas stations, when I go to fill up, they will point and they'll say, look, see, it says 0 right here. They want it, the honest gas stations, they want me to see that it's 0 and they're not being overcharged. That's how bad that scam has become, that, gas stations will overcharge you. Now, I have actually been to a gas station where I bought gas and then they charged my credit card 3 different times. Now, they showed it at 3 different locations. They're stupid because it was all at the same time. So, and I had to just show it to the credit card place, and they obviously took it off. Okay. So you do have to be careful where you go. Okay.
I guess that's one of the hardest parts.
Yeah.
It's always having to be on guard.
Always being on alert.
Yeah. Whether you're driving or shopping or.
Yeah. See, I mean, it's like JR. JR says, I went to go buy a sewing machine and they wanted to charge me $50 extra to use my credit card. It's ridiculous, but that's the kind of stuff that happens. That's the kind of stuff that I can't say I've gotten used to it, but I'm so aware of it that now I don't get so mad about it. I used to get just so angry because for me, I'm an extremely honest guy. I mean, I'm just going to tell you the truth. I mean, so I will help you. Okay. But man, it burns me up when someone tries to cheat me. Okay. And it happens. You got to be careful. So, hey, anyway, I hope you have enjoyed today's live. Like I said, I don't want to scare you. I'm not trying to talk you out of coming to Costa Rica. But if you are thinking about coming to Costa Rica, you most definitely need to know what we're talking about. We give everything away for free. You can watch every one of our videos. Now, time is money. If you don't want to take time to watch all of the videos, schedule a phone consultation. It ain't a whole lot of money, and the money that you will save will most definitely be well worth your time. So anyway, I'm not trying to convince you to make a phone consultation. I am a busy guy, but I love to help people. And hey, this is like a phone consultation for free. I'm telling you all of this great information, and we just love to share with you, okay? So do be careful, especially, when you're using your credit card at tourist areas. There's scammers in there that will take your stuff. So just be careful.
Yeah, check the ATMs for they put those little inserts that read your card.
So I'm not quite sure what you're leaving, but I think, you're like, do I have a PDF or a book or something of less touristy areas where people want to live there? No, but if you start looking, we did a video series that was the most popular video series we've ever done. And it was the 5 best places to live. I actually want to do that again. I want to update it, but it's still very, very, while it's about 3 years old, it's still very, go look at on our channel, the best places to live in Costa Rica on our channel, and you're going to see it. It's absolutely amazing. Okay. So you want to go check it out, and it will give you the information you're asking, Evelina. Okay. And Pamela says, hey, we'll be watching you guys in the country next week. Pamela Till and Tom are coming to Costa Rica. Congratulations. They've been here a few times, and looking forward to having supper with you guys.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing you.
That's right. So, hey, big shout out to Chris Wright. Thank you so much. Greatly appreciate you supporting us. We greatly appreciate everybody that supports us, whether you give us $1 or $1 million. I think Eduardo is giving us $1 million. Eduardo is giving us $1 million. Put it on your credit card, Eduardo. All right, folks. Eduardo says, that's why I need paper and pens. He ain't giving me no $1 million. He's buying paper and pens for Costa Rica school.
Yeah.
All right,
and while we're talking about credit cards, something to consider. If you have to report some fraud on your card, they're going to cancel your card. And so then you have to get another one.
And it's hard to get a credit card in Costa Rica.
Yeah, it's hard to get it through the mail. So
R&B says it's his first time here. Hey, I'm so glad you're here. Make sure you subscribe. And look, we do this every Sunday. Matter of fact, in the first Sunday of every month, we do Q&A, where all we talking about is answering your questions. So be sure to join us live next weekend. I think next weekend is Q&A. All right, folks, it's time to go. We'll talk to you next week. See ya.
ciao.